Hello people and welcome back to the channel for another episode from Brännboll Official. For you who don't know what Brännboll is, you can check out my earlier video that explains the rules of the sport. But it is a sport that's played in north of Sweden in the city of Umeå. And I'm here to teach you about the sport and show different parts of the game. Today in this video we're going to look at the court of Brennboll, where you play it, how you play it, and how you build it. So we're going to look at the measurements and we're going to look at a few ways you can do it if you want to build your own court at home or, well, out on the field somewhere and play with your friends and other people that you also want to play with. So what you see in front of you here is the full court and all the measurements that you need to build a court. As you might know, there are 4 bases. There are a hitting plate, there is a burning plate, and we have 2 flags that indicate the sidelines. It's possible to have more than 2 of the flags, but these are the 2 important ones, the ones that give you the lines and the angles of the court. You also see, like I said, the sidelines, but also a short line. These lines are not always painted on the field. It's preferable if they are. You definitely have to put up something to indicate them. You might lie some shoes or some other objects, maybe other flags on the short line to indicate how far it is. I'm going to say that there's 3 ways you can build a course, or 3 methods. The first one I'm going to call the traditional way, which is the most common one, and I guess the one that practically everyone does. The second way I'm going to call the modern way, and that's a version that I tried to do as efficient as possible, and I developed it with some friends of mine, where you do it in a little bit of an odd order. And then there's a third way, and I'm going to call this the experimental way because I haven't really done this. I'm not sure it's going to be a good one, but I have a new toy that I want to try to use for this, and that's why I'm going to call it the experimental way. Today in this video we're going to go with the first version, the traditional way. So let's get to it. First, let's check out the equipment. So there are a few things you need to have when you're going to play Brennboll. There's a few things that we use when we have tournaments that are very good to have. First things first, you need to have the bases, the cones. You need 4 of them. And if you don't have this type of cones, you need to have something to substitute. A lot of people use a shoe to do this if they don't have the cones. Or you can use a bag or a backpack or something. Then you have to have a burner's mat. This is a squared mat, a smaller one, and also a hitter's mat. That's a bigger one. Next, you need to have some sort of indication for the sidelines. We use flags. This is a measurement wheel. You roll it and it counts the distance it's been rolled, so you can know that the measurement on the court is correct. When you have like practice matches, a lot of people just use your legs and step up. But when we have serious matches, we want to use the wheel to make sure. So we're going to start out with the traditional way of measuring a court. And what you want to do for the beginning is to decide where the hitter's mat's going to be. So I'm going to have this here. And I make sure to look if there's an obstacle in the way of where I think the court is going to be when I set it up. And then I start from the hitter's mat. And the first thing I do is take the cones, all 4 of them, and we're going to put these out. So the first cone is supposed to be 5 meters forward and 10 meters to the side. And I use my measuring wheel to do this. I start from the middle, from the center of the hitter's mat, so it's going to be 5 meters from the front edge. When I come to 5 meters, I turn sideways and I try to make sure to have 90 degrees from the hitter's mat, and I try to like find something to look at and go towards. So now it's going to be 10 meters more. So here is where the first cone is supposed to be. Like that. Usually I put something on the 5 meters in front of the hitter's mat to be able to know where the 90 degrees is from here. I didn't do this time, but that's a good trick to do. Now I try to find something to walk towards, and I go 28 meters forward. So basically this traditional way, you just set up the bases in order. First number 1, then number 2, number 3, number 4. So there it's 28 meters. Once again, 90 degrees from the first base. Try to find something straight up there. A little bit left of the double birch. Then I go 20 meters. And when I get to 10 meters on this way, I can look to the side and see if I'm about right before the hitter's mat. It looks to be pretty correct. So now we continue 10 meters more. So it's a total of 20. And 20. Go 90 degrees. Take something to aim at. 28 meters again. If there's one distance that has to be correct, that's the most important one. I would say this is the one from the third to fourth base. This is the one that's gonna be paid most attention to, both for the inside team and the outside team. Okay, so now this has been a traditional way of putting out the bases. You can stand here, take a look. Does it seem like they are correctly? Yeah, probably. Now, if you want to make sure that the angles are correct, you can cross measure. You can measure from the fourth to the second and from the first to the third. And if those distances are the same distance, you know that it's not a crooked court. We still have a few things to do before this court is finished, and that's the short line and it's the sidelines and also the bird's mat. And the short line is 10 meters from the hitter's mat. And once again, I measure from the forward end of the hitter's mat in the middle. So 10 meters, try to go straight, 9, there 10 meters. Put this on the middle there. And I want this to lie straight out like that. So now I use these other 3 flags just put out in line, and this is in order to see as much as possible of the short line. After I've done the sidelines, I always make sure to put this end of the flag in lineage with the sidelines, so the catching team's player who's closest to the short line will have a good sense of where the sidelines are. Now it's time for the sidelines. The sidelines are defined from one point along the line, and that's at the same height at the outer bases. So 4 meters out from the outer bases, we're first gonna put a flag on each side. Then you notice I have 4 flags more here, and that's in order to make the line even more easy to find for catching team. 4 meters out from the base. So I take 1 flag, put it in the middle there. Now, before I shove it down, I take a look if I have it in a straight line with both bases. And this is because it's going to be easier for the hitting team when they run to know if they are on the right side of the line when the ball is hit. And you also noticed now when I put this in that the flag is leaning outwards, because I don't want the flag to lean inwards. If it leans inwards, that can disturb the game, but if I have it slightly or quite a lot leaning outwards, it's not going to be a part of the game. Some people are tricked, think the flag's the line, but it's not. It's the point where the flag is put into the ground. So this is where the line for the sideline is determined. Every other flag that I put on is going to be from this point, it's going to be determined. And I also want all of these 3 points, the bases and the flag, to be in line. So when a player is running, standing here, prepared, he can both look, or she can both look at the bases, but also know that the flag is on the same line. It's going to make it easier not cheat unintentionally. If this would be a court that's going to be played on at any point, I would not build it right here. In a real game, this would be a nightmare, especially with football shoes that you usually have. So 4 meters out from the base, there we go. It's a little bit on the side. I always do this when I move something. I leave it in place and put the finger where I want it to be. Now it wasn't that much of a difference actually, but it could matter. Okay, so now I'm gonna put these 2 flags. In a lot of matches you want another flag halfway between here and the hitting mat to indicate for the catching players in the infield to know where the sidelines are. But in some matches, especially if there's tailwind for the hitter, it could be nice to have one further out. So I'm gonna put up a flag first here. If it's too close, it doesn't really matter, but if it's too far away, it doesn't matter either, because whoa, there's a hole there. Okay, let's put it for the hole. This one is to make it easier for the catching team to know where the line is, so they're all out in the back here. I put the wooden stick over there on the hitter's mat to be able to see the hitter's mat from here. So now I try to find out the line where the sideline flag and the wooden stick is on the line. And this flag that I just put up is going to be needed in order to, as a single person, put up a flag in the middle. When I put up this flag, I want to make sure I'm inside of the bases. And now when I look here, I only have 1 point of reference, but behind me I have 2 points of reference. And that means I can find the line where those two align, like so. So now I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. Once again, I always want 2 points of reference, so I start with the outer flag. If you're a two-person doing this, you don't have to put out the other flag, because then one person can stand on the hitter's mat and tell you when you have the flag in alignment with the outer flag. So I want to make sure to be about the same distance as the first flag. And now I have the 2 points of reference, so it's the base where the flag hits the ground. That's where I need them to align, about here. Now I'm going to put up the final flag. I want to make sure I'm inside of the running area and preferably about the same height as the other flag on the other side. 2 points of reference, try to make them a straight line and about there. The burner's mat is 3 meters in from the fourth base. 1, 2, 3, and then I turn 90 degrees, and that is where the burner's mat is supposed to be. I put the nail in the middle because on this mat it's gonna be most important to feel connection for the burner on the edges, because you're gonna stretch out as far as you can. If there's a hard thing out on the edge, you might slip off, and that's unnecessary. But on this hitter's mat we put 2 nails in. Most players hit like this, stand like this. They have the bat on the right side of the body. That means most people are gonna like hit and then they're gonna run in this direction. So therefore I put the nails in 2 edges. So on this side I put it in the back, and for symmetry we put it in the forward corner. Congratulations, you made it all the way to the end of the video. I'm super happy for that. If you want to support the channel here on YouTube, you know what to do. If you want to support the channel outside of YouTube, you could really help me out by going to my web shop that I have linked in the description, and maybe subscribe and tune in for the next video I put out. Hopefully now you will know how to make your own court in Brennboll. Tune in for the next video. See you later. Goodbye.